Don't sing along? Okay.
No, go for it.
I let the little hi-hat bit. This bit.
Jimmy would have loved that. G'day Rugby League fans, welcome along to the Mad Monday podcast, live from the Export Beer Garden studio and brought to you by 4 and 20 Pies. It's your weekly wrap of NRL action, mainly the Warriors though. By the way, my name's Chris Key, aka Adam Whenua Keyzie. Joining me today, Ben Hurley, aka Sandor Hurl.
Sure.
Ben, how you going, mate?
Great. It's great to be here in person. And look, let's go off the bat here. The Warriors won, but is the NRL 4 rounds too long?
Well, we were just discussing this in the tea room while I made a cup of tea, and I think I'm of a similar opinion, although I think it's circumstantial to do with this year, but we will get into that very shortly. Before I do, though, quick piece of admin. Fun admin, though. Big shout-out to...
Fadman.
Fadman.
Yeah.
Fadman, that's a new term. I'm going to start using that. Jessica Rafiti, who won herself $400 cash because she commented the correct time on the trade staff scoreboard banner. It pops up in the first half and in the second half of NRL game of the Warriors. When we're commentating it, you just have to comment on our post on social saying what time exactly was on the clock when it popped up. She's won herself $400 thanks to our mates at our trade staff, which is a bloody ripper. Without further ado, though, Ben, let's rip straight into the Warriors game. They got the job done against the Dragons, 18 points to 6.
Wigan, he's looking. The general, which way does he decide to go? Goes left. Some nice ball skills from Adam Whenua. Who gets it? There's a gap! And Adam Pompey scores! This is on the last tackle. Wigan out to Johnson. Johnson gets it! Chance steps and he's over! Chance does the work himself and he's up with the... Wigan. Adam Whenua-Blake is under the sticks off a beautiful ball from Dylan Walker. Everything about that play was lovely. Dallon's coming through. He bobbles it. It's a try. A try to Zach Lomax.
It's bloody funny moving.
Johnson puts a beautiful kick in and it's touched down by Amone. Then Adam Whenua-Blake jumps on it, but I think this is a pretty easy call for Peter Goff. However, that whistle sounds like the try whistle.
Did he not ground it properly? No, he did not ground it properly. Tyrell Sloan, who could be anything, but seems to be a bit poos most of the time, coughing up a nice try for Adam Whenua-Keyzie there. Ben Hurley, let's carry on with the is the season too long chat, because I thought it was just me. Di Henwood obviously is at full rugby fizz no matter what time of year.
Yes. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm still enjoying it. But
Same.
As you said, alluded to before, we have an assured place in the top 4,
That's
essentially,
right.
and have done for a couple of weeks. And I know not technically, mathematically, but now we absolutely do. And now we're going to go and biff it out with cellar dwellers, the Dolphins, next week
That's
over
right.
there, which is only going to lead to injuries.
It is going to lead to injuries. Unfortunately, a piece of news came out today. Rumour, I believe... The rumour mill is what they call it. Tohu Harris, back injury, going to be rested for next week's game. This coming weekend's game, and possibly miss some of the finals. However, he played a full 80. You know what I mean? He played a full 80 against the Dragons. There was no issues on the field. I think they're just saying that he might miss the finals just to sort of get rid of any suspicion and to say, hey, Tohu, you've earned a rest. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, the last few weeks, basically, either he or Adam Whenua-Keyzie have barnstormed over for winning tries, and that happened again this week, essentially.
Yeah, well, it did. And that one that we heard earlier, Adam Whenua-Blake didn't, in fact, score it. He duffed the put down. But Tohu Harris played 80 minutes. AFB played 71 minutes. There was no cover really on the bench because they started with AFB and Bunty. And I think that was our downfall. The first 20 was awesome. We were, muscling up, getting repeat sets. We were going about our business, executing well, scored 2 great tries. And then we massively ran out of gas or fizz. It's like, hey, we've got this done over the Dragons. We don't really need to try much now. That's the vibe I got.
Well, I was sitting home listening to your call, you and Di's call at home, on the couch there, a few beers in, and I just really have a bone to pick with you because you turned into Blocka. You turned into Blocka Roach.
But I gave everyone a warning, though, didn't I?
You'd said it twice before, and then you caught yourself and went, I'm sounding like Blocka.
Yeah, well,
and then you tried to triple down on it.
They were out on their feet here, the Warriors.
You can't say that. You're not allowed to say that. Okay?
Oh, and another one that he says, but for the first time ever, I don't feel bad saying it because I'm so used to a high standard from the Warriors.
Yeah.
I just felt like they are like us. They've lost a bit of fizz. They know it's not in the bag, but they're ready for the finals to start. And so they weren't really getting back on defence, and there was a lot of walking going on. And I hate to sound like Blocka again, but you could have thrown a blanket over the Warriors here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, look, the last few weeks we've been bumping uglies with the glory hole, basically. We're just getting
Totally.
ugly wins.
You have? What?
These are the terms that I choose to use, okay?
Oh, yeah, okay.
Okay, if you can't keep up, that's your problem. Okay, these are ugly wins with cellar dwellers, okay? We're bumping uglies with the glory hole teams.
Yes, you did right. And I mean, how is Webby supposed to get in the changing rooms and fire everyone up to play the Dolphins in round 27 with the top four in the bag? And this is an issue that I've been banging on about for about a month now, is I really worry going into the finals, we're going to go from playing the Dragons and the Titans and having scrappy performances into a top-level team. We could either get blown off the park or we come back to life, back to how we were. That's what I hope happens, but I'm worried.
So if we lose against the Dolphins, say we put up a less than ideal team, a less than A team against the Dolphins, and we do lose that one, does that put us into fourth, potentially?
Let me look at the table here. So Broncos, congratulations to the Broncos, by the way.
Minor premiers, are they?
They're pretty much in line for the minor premiership. They are on 42. Panthers are on 40. We're on 38. So if we do lose, who are the Storm playing? The Storm are on 36. We're on 38. I think we will hold firm. It'll go to points differential, which means the Storm are on... No, I think... Well, it's close, actually. They're beating us on points differential. So
right.
If we lose... and we don't, and the Storm score a lot of points, they're probably going to jump above us on the table.
So here's the question. Who would you rather play in that first round of the finals, Penrith or Broncos? Who would you rather play?
Just to confirm, they play the Broncos, Storm v Broncos this week, so that's a huge match.
Oh, that's a huge game.
So, right, so the Storm do play the Broncos. That is a huge... Actually, that's massive.
Pomana.
Meanwhile, we're playing the Dolphins. I think I'd rather play
I know my
Penrith.
answer. Really? I think I'd rather we play Brisbane.
The reason I want to play Penrith is because watching them on the weekend, it was Thursday night, the Eels ran through them. They've got a few people missing. They won't have Luai. They had a few centres missing and things. The defence wasn't as sharp as it always was. I'd rather get them then. However, Penrith are just so experienced in the postseason, you know. I don't think there's an easy answer there.
There's certainly not an easy answer, but I would rather play the Broncos because, and we'll get onto this game later, I think the Broncos are becoming a one-player team. I think without Adam Reynolds,
yes,
they are basically the Reece Walsh show, and he had an unbelievable game. He had one of the best games I've ever seen in regular, pool play.
That's right.
Regular season play I've ever seen a player have the other day.
Yeah, he's definitely gave off Kalen Ponga vibes the way the Knights 100% rely on Ponga. The Broncos are doing the very similar thing. But let's chat Was. Dylan Walker came off the bench, and which usually brings some injection. He put AFB through. He dropped the ball, and I felt like from that point onwards, it was just kind of a bit ho-hum watching at home, because I find when I'm commentating quite often, it's all happening so fast, I don't have time to actually drink in what's happening and think about it. Did you get the feeling that we were just in disarray and a bit lazy on running back and things like that? Or
yes, I would say that there was a slight lack of spark about our attack. I thought we defended really well. I think the last 2 weeks, I think, have we let in 3 tries?
Yeah, it's been pretty damn good.
It's been pretty good, right? And that's something you would criticise the Warriors for over many seasons, and we're not doing that now. The Dragons are I think there's a technical coaching term, a dog shit side.
They really are a dog shit side, aren't they? And one of the issues is, and this is something we experienced, we had Reece Walsh, and then we went to Chan. We upgraded to Chans, and he suited our team better because he's a gutsy player. He defends his ass off. Reece Walsh is sort of like how the Dragons have Tyrell Sloan, who's an attacking player and a liability on defence, but they suck, so there's literally no use having him there.
Yeah, I mean, there's some big names in that Dragons side, and they should be doing better than they are.
I feel sorry for Ben Hunt. He's such a good player.
Does he have a club here? Is he going somewhere?
Oh, I don't know. No, I don't think so.
No,
it's still
we're all
up in the
shrugging.
air.
We don't even know.
Honestly, who cares?
He does look like a He-Man doll from the 80s, though. Like, his arms are way too big for the rest of his body.
Yes.
It looks like if you twist him at the middle, he'd just go back into it with his arms up like that.
I mean, That's the funny thing about footy players, having gone to quite a few press conferences, especially for the Auckland Nines back in the day. You see them in real life and you realise, wow, I'm actually way taller than like Ben Hunt, for example, and a lot of those hookers dudes. They're tiny.
Oh, you'd probably waste him in a fight.
Oh, that is not what I'm saying, but probably. Thanks, Ben. I appreciate it. And actually, now
Ben Hunt's a listener of Mad Monday, which I'm sure he is. Adam Fanua Keyzie here wants to take you on in the octagon.
Adam Fanua Keyzie versus Ben Mark Hunt. I think they're brothers, actually. If he's anything as good of a scrapper as his brother is.
I've got a point.
Yep.
I didn't think Wigan had a great game, and I actually thought Bailey Sirenen came on and played
What?
really well off the bench.
I thought Wigan had a great game.
I thought he had an okay game, but not as good as his standards.
Is Bailey yeah, well, the problem with Wigan is he's got high standards. I would like to see him be rested next week.
Yeah, good call.
And Chance.
Yep. I think if we're assured of third place,
Yeah.
we should put on a B team.
Rest Shaun as well.
Oh my God, Shaun should be wrapped in bubble wrap.
Yes, he should
Yeah,
be.
not his face though, so he still needs to be able to breathe.
Still breathe
Yeah.
and still consume protein and all that sort
And
of
not
stuff.
his groin area because he's popping out kids like
He
nothing.
needs to be able to breathe and breed.
Yeah.
So those are the two things that Shaun needs.
Have we signed those children? Do we know if they're male or female children? It doesn't matter. There's the Warriors are going to have a women's side soon, so let's sign his children like now.
That honestly, Kayla Cullen and Shaun Johnson, yeah, they are very, very talented people. They're going to be pretty scucky athletes when they come of age. Now, I still worry about our left edge defence where Marcelo is. Led in quite a few tries. Metcalf, who unfortunately did his hamstring and was sort of had his head in his hands on the sideline there. He looks to be gone just in time to Mighty Martin is back in, which hopefully will fix the sort of defence on that side. However, if we do come up against the likes of Brisbane, they have got Reece Walsh, Katoni Staggs, and Selwyn Cobbo on that right side, who were so good on the weekend. And I think that is probably our biggest weak point at the moment.
Not guilty, Your Honour.
Yeah, what are you getting the ref's room number, mate?
Do you think we've got an insight into how to shut Reece Walsh down? Because we know him and we played him?
Yeah, saying and knowing and then doing is such a hard thing to do. Although, yeah, I mean, I don't know. He's just so fast. He's like Kalen Ponga. He catches the ball and just he looks like he's going to like either go for a pass or like sort of look at you, make up his decision, make up his mind, and then all of a sudden he does a step and he's got explosive pace and he's around you. You have to commit to him straight away. It's just so hard to defend him.
I actually think that's what Luke Metcalf was kind of doing for us when he was putting himself out on the right edge, or the left edge, when he was putting himself on the back line and running it at the line. He looked dangerous every time, and I think we're going to miss that. Tamari Martin's a fantastic, professional footballer, and he is classy, and he is going to shore up defence, although he's had no footy.
No, I know, that's the thing. And when I saw him, and I didn't realise, we mentioned this in a far earlier episode of the Mad Monday podcast, but I saw him at the Warriors club room. He had a big beard because you're not allowed to shave your face while you're recovering from an injury at the Warriors.
In case you cut yourself.
No, it's just a thing. You just have to grow a beard while you're recovering. And then so he was just he was in a moon boot with a beard, looking real dishevelled, and I was like, because usually you see him, he's a good-looking fella, he's up and about, So I'm sure Tamaiti will come back all good. He was playing in New South Wales Cup over the weekend, so that was good. He's got some footy under him. Hopefully, to be honest, this is a great game for him to come back and get into form against the Dolphins. Big shout out.
I was just going to say, I thought Montoya had an improved game.
Yes, absolutely.
But he's been very quiet for some weeks.
He has been, and like his strength is usually his defense is solid. The way he brings the ball back from the opposition kicks and stuff, he runs hard, he does all the right stuff. I just worry that he's not trusting enough of his inside players, so the way he keeps jamming in. And after watching the Broncos, I'm just like, oh, God, we have to fix that. Big shout out, though, to Dallin Watene-Zelezniak, who knocked out Zach Lomax and sent him for an HIA by jumping in the air and then hitting him with his crotch.
Could you guys have sounded any more dejected when Zach Lomax scored in that game? That was my favourite piece of commentary for the whole weekend, actually. You're like, oh, and it's a try, and it's Zach Lomax. Like, no one's favourite player, quite a few people's least favourite player.
Honestly, if Matt Lodge had scored a try, I'd be exactly the same. I just can't stand the bloke. And in fact, imagine how downbuzz it would have been if he had scored that try at the very beginning of the game.
I know. Hey, let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Because I think that was a try. I don't think it touched Chance.
That is huge from you, really.
Really.
Really? Zach Lomax?
I think that was a 9-second try.
Nah, it definitely touched Chan's finger, surely. Or are you just saying it to wind people up?
A little bit.
Yeah, okay. You go. Well, it fucking worked. Yeah, if it wasn't Zach Lomax, I'd be happy to let it go.
Oh, I didn't want it, obviously, to let it go, because how embarrassing is that? I mean, there were 3 Warriors just staring at the ball while it bounced.
It was actually a pinpoint kickoff. It bounced right where you assume it's going to go into touch, but then it sort of set up and bounced straight up in the air really high. So I think Dallin had to jump up and sort of volleyball set it over to Chance. And then Zach, who is a very talented player, just got there. And fortunately, Chance had his finger just in the way and it caused a knock on. That would have... that could have been almost... If they had scored that may have fired up the Warriors enough to actually put on a better performance, you know?
Yeah, possibly. And as Steve Blocka Keyzie would say,
hey,
it's like under 9 stuff, that.
It was like under 9 stuff, although, I mean, if it was the other way around, I would have been so fired up, it would have been bloody ripper.
Can we do a face swap with Blocka Roach?
No more face swaps with Blocka Keyzie, please. Jesus. Dylan Walker, by the way, once Metcalf went off, and Metcalf, I think, has gone from strength to strength. It's a shame he's injured now. His running game's always been good. His passing game's great all of a sudden. I think it was the second try, or was it the first? No, the first try, Adam Pompey off his left foot scored, but it was a beautiful flat skip pass across the face of Josh Curran to a wide open Adam Pompey. Great vision, great execution from Metcalf, and I think he's going to be gun in years to come.
Yeah, nice to see Pompey get in for a try as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Workhorse.
He is a workhorse. He's been kicking well. Since he signed that contract, he hasn't really put a foot wrong, which has been good to see. And also a shout out to Dylan Walker, who had a couple of goal line grubbers, sort of get the ball first receiver, put the grubber in, perfectly weighted, Jackson Ford steaming through. Ravlawa just hit it out. Yeah.
No, you just remind me of something.
Yeah.
Finish your thought.
So Jackson Ford steaming onto it, went to score. Ravlawa, who's a speedster, just hit it out the way, but Dylan Walker did 2 perfectly executed grubbers, and I think that's something that we can utilise going forward.
What do you think about Jackson Ford off the bench? I liked it.
I liked it because he brings... I like how they kept Josh Curran on the bench for so long and just made him foam at the mouth and get really angry and then brought him on. And now he's like on and he's playing really well. Jackson Ford's played pretty damn well all season. He's had a few mistakes and things. I think it is great. He's a classy footballer. Bring him on. Like bringing Dylan Walker off the bench has been fantastic.
Oh, amazing. I mean, he's quite a versatile player. But yeah, I like Josh Curran starting and I like Jackson Ford injecting because he just runs so hard straight. He runs harder straight than Josh Curran does, to be honest.
Yeah.
Josh Curran's probably a better all-round footballer, but Jackson Ford is just a Frankenstein's mummy. Is that a thing? Frankenstein's
monster?
mummy. Yeah. He's a cross between a Frankenstein and a mummy.
Is your brain just doing face swaps constantly now? Is this all you've got? Frankenstein's Keyzie is what he's like, everyone.
And he's just straight up the guts. And I think it just injects right into the guts.
I also like that. That's his old team, and he could barely get a start for the Dragons, and then we picked him up, and he's been just a fantastic player
It's
for us.
amazing how that happens, because Chance was talking about that during the week, about how he was playing reserve grade for Canberra, and now he's like the star of the Warriors, and arguably one of the best fullbacks in the entire competition.
Well, exactly. So Chance is the same, and then also the same as Dylan Walker, who was I thought he was a terrible signing because he was held together by Tate, playing for Manly. You know, he'd come on and do not much, but he's been one of our best players. Like for some reason, whoever's bloody picking these fellas knows how to pick him. They're guys who are desperate for a chance, get given a chance, and then deliver.
Webb Lasso, mate.
Bloody awesome. Webb Lasso. It is Webb Lasso. By the way, Sky. They've just do you do Sky Sport Now, the streaming app?
I do.
Have you noticed they've updated the app and it looks different now?
No.
Have a look. So I was using it on what's today, Monday. I was using it yesterday, and they've updated the app. It looks nice or whatever. For some reason now, the play pause button on my remote doesn't work.
Oh.
And instead, I have to manually go down across to the fast forward, then back across to the pause, and then push the center button. And I keep accidentally pausing incorrectly and exiting out of videos I'm watching and stuff. So if someone could fix that.
Why are you pausing the league all the time? Is he trying to stop it right on Reece Walsh?
Busted. No, it's to write notes for Mad Monday. God, and take a few screenshots of Reece Walsh. Don't mind if I do. No, I hate Reece Walsh. To be honest, it was to go back and watch that hit from Joey Tapine over and over again. Actually, on that, should we
move on?
Let's move on to the stonker of the round, which, by the way, if you hadn't guessed, it is the Raiders taking on the Broncos, with the Broncos getting the win, 29 points to 18.
Up, I believe. Oh, what a pass of Fogarty. Hudson Young, he gets past Walsh. Goodbye, Hudson Young. He scores for the Raiders. The Russian Young, Walsh has got a chance, gives it to Staggs. Early ball, Cobo. Selwyn Cobo glides his way to the line. Walsh, what's he spotted here? He spotted Timoko. Butts away from him, gets past Whitehead, gets through Starling, now gets past two more. This is electric. This is Reece Walsh at his best, but Sebastian Chris with a tackle. Madden gets it on. Cobo's already got two. There's no one in front of him. Selwyn Cobo will score. To Madden. Here's Walsh. Look at it open up for Reece Walsh. He's too good. Wow. It's exquisite. It's electric.
Yes, as you mentioned, Ben, Reece Walsh just putting on an absolute clinic. I love the confidence. I love the skills. I love the speed. I mentioned already, but the right side of the Broncos, Cobo, Staggs, Reece Walsh. One thing I didn't realise was that Cobo is a big fella. He's deceptively really, really, really fast.
Yeah, he's just, that's absolutely right. It looks like he never gets out of second gear, but
He's just gliding.
Did he get a hat trick in that game?
Yeah, I think he did, yeah.
The amount of tries, it happened in Origin as well, where he'd just literally walk over the try line.
Yes.
I mean, there was the other two tries he scored, certainly one of them was a bit more long range and he had to actually run. But the amount of times, and it's those Reece Walsh Harbour Bridge passes.
Well, that's the thing. So I think at one point, who was on the left wing for the Raiders? I can't remember. But he jammed in, and so... No, sorry, yes, it was the left wing for the Raiders. He jammed in, so Reece Walsh literally just threw a really basic Harbour Bridge over, and they scored after 5 minutes. You know what I mean? It's such a well-executed and almost simple play for them to
It's
make.
not Jared Croker, is it? Because he can't make the starting side, even though half the crowd have Jared Croker masks on.
Yeah, that's gutting, but fair enough, I think. So they got Sebastian Chris in the centres now. Is it Hopewhite? I can't remember who's on the left wing. Don't at me, by the way.
This game, though, it's the closest we have to a stonk of the round because, as we've covered, teams are getting a little bit settled now. There's a little bit of movement around the eight. Your Cowboys, your Roosters, your Knights. They're all kind of going for those 7 or 8. Everything else is pretty settled, you would think.
That's right.
And there's not really a lot of close games. But this was 18-16 at one point to the Raiders.
It was a great game.
Yeah.
And shout out to the Raiders everyone looks at the top 8 and goes, wow, the Raiders are in the top 8 and they've got a negative, points differential because they either just win games or get absolutely flogged. So their points differential is like negative 119.
Yeah, they're not a sexy side to watch. I do love watching the Raiders because I've got a soft spot for them because I'm of that age where the Raiders used to be amazing.
Up the milk, yeah.
Yeah, up the milk. So I do have a soft spot for the Raiders, but they're not a sexy side to watch.
No.
They're a defensive team. Even the tries they got in that first half were just second rowers busting the line about 30 out.
Yeah, Hudson Young scoring.
Young,
Yeah. He's a bloody good player, by the way. But for some reason, they managed to actually score some tries. Like usually they'd score 16 points maybe at full time and win 16-14 or something. But they managed to score a few tries. They had Rapana at fullback, who I think he's a talented player. Constantly getting in trouble, though.
Tripping.
He tried to trip Cobo. Real soft call, to be honest, but he tried to do it, and by the letter of the law.
Is that the second time in as many weeks he's been off for tripping or attempted tripping?
I'm not sure.
I think maybe not last week, the week before or something. It's just a real reactionary thing that he does. He chucks his foot out. Like, how long have you been playing? The guy's in his late 50s. Look at his hairline.
That is true.
He's been playing rugby league. This is his 48th season of rugby league.
Yeah, someone tell your uncle to sort it out because he does keep chucking the foot out. Oh, and if he's not chucking the foot out, he's chucking the arm out for a high shot as well. Few great hits in this game, though. Firstly, absolutely loved Horsburgh flattening your favourite player, Katoni Staggs, and then standing over him and flexing. That was amazing.
There was a lot of feeling in this game.
There was a lot of feeling and touching and feeling in this game. And my favourite hit of the whole thing, though, happened at the very end. Here is some audio.
Here's a bit of desperation from Rapana. Walsh is back there. Well, he's still got a hobble on him. And now that's going to get the Broncos rolled up. Joey Tarkany, he was fair game, Walsh.
Oh, I loved it so much, Ben Hurley. I don't know what your attitude is, but seeing someone like Reece Walsh and he's like, I've just set up all these tries and scored all these tries, and now I'm hobbling, I've got a bit of an injury, and then bang! Joey Tarpini cleans him out. Last time he was hit that hard, he had cocaine on him at the GC. You know what I mean? Did you enjoy that hit?
I loved it. If you didn't see it, basically what happened was Reece Walsh was running out the clock and basically sort of backing towards his own goal line.
Yeah.
And Joey Tarpini just came and cleaned him up.
Fair game, man.
Yeah, totally. There was still a second on the clock, and what are you doing? Just because you've absolutely dominated the second half and embarrassed most of the Raiders' back line doesn't mean you just get to waltz into full time.
No, and this is something that happens in basketball as well. And in the NBA, it's like an unspoken rule that if there's 20 seconds to go and you've got the ball and you're down massively or you're up massively, you just have to dribble it out. Whereas if that was me, well, I mean, I'm never going to be in the NBA and I'll probably also miss the shot. But I would just try for a shot. You know, like you may as well. You're on the court, you've got people marking, you have a crack at it.
You know, there's a good chance they might meet in finals at some point, and it's just, you got to start to play the head game as well.
Yeah, exactly.
As the body game.
Oh, mate, you got to play the full human body game. And Joey Tarpini, I like to think of him as a warrior just because he plays for the Kiwis, and I think spiritually he's a warrior. You know what I mean, Joey Tarpini?
I love Joey Tarpini.
I would love for him to come to the Warriors. God,
that would be unbelievable.
It would be.
And we'd love it. He's quite small for a front rower.
Is he?
Don't you think he's tall, but he's not?
Oh, no, he's not.
He's not girthy. He's got a lot of girth.
No, he's not like Papali'i.
No.
Big Papa. Yeah, you're right, actually.
Yeah.
But maybe that's the secret to his success. He's obviously a powerful unit, though.
Totally. Very mobile, as they'd say.
Oh, hugely mobile.
Yeah, probably quite fit. Probably never ever out on his feet, eh?
Yeah.
Steve Blocka Keyzie.
No, don't. If anyone sends a face swap of that in, I'm quitting.
Oh.
No, I'm not.
Is it because it's a Pacifica or a Polynesian player? They don't have the fitness. Is that right, Steve Blocka Keyzie?
Do not start this as a storyline, all right? Anything else you want to say about this massive stonker?
I think, as much as I love the Raiders, I think they're going to tumble out of finals really quick. I think if they get two chances, they're gone.
They just can't put up enough points, even though I gave them raps for it. That does it for the first part of Mad Monday. We'll be back shortly after a quick break.
Not guilty, Your Honour.
Yeah, what are you getting the ref's room number, mate?
Welcome back to the Export Beer Garden studio where we are chatting footy on the Mad Monday podcast. You've got Adam Whenua Keyzie and Blocka Hurley here.
Hey. Use my own thing against me.
Got to fight fire with fire. Brought to you by 4 and 20 Pies, of course. A couple of quick points from that last round in the NRL. I'd like to start with, and I mentioned it earlier, but a big shout out to the Eels who took down the Panthers on Thursday night. Not only did they take them down, they gave them a good old-fashioned ass whooping. Just looking at the score here, it was 32-18, Panthers at home. Ben Hurley, are you surprised by that?
Well, you'll know this as well as me. In fact, that's why you've led me into this question, is that the Eels always seem to beat the Panthers.
What?
In the last, I think it's 3 seasons, no team has beaten the Panthers more than once.
That's right. And the Eels have done it
so
4
it's about
or something?
6. So, yeah, I think it's 4 wins and 6 losses. 4 wins to the Eels, 6 losses, and anyone else has won maybe 1 or 2 tops.
Damn.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is too. And this is an Eels side without Mitch Moses, an Eels side with, and oh my God, Clint Gutherson. I don't know if you saw the full game, but he is probably my favourite fullback outside of Chance. And like obviously I like Ponga and Reece Walsh and blah, blah, but he is gutsy. He's now off to get knee surgery because his knee was so buggered. He kicked a whole heap of conversions from the sideline. He set up a few tries. He made amazing tackles the whole game. He scored one himself. And remember midway through the season that Eels being like, yo, we needed a fullback with X Factor. He's the ultimate fullback.
Yeah, I don't know what it is and why they keep beating the Panthers. Is it just that they're one of the more physical teams, you'd say, about the Eels, wouldn't you? They've got big front rowers.
Yeah. I don't know what it is. For some reason, the Panthers just were shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they had a few young players, like in the centres and stuff, and Mike Keyzie scored 4 tries, really taking advantage of that. They just weren't the Panthers, and unfortunately...
Big front rowers, big winger.
Michael
Acevo.
That's correct. Unfortunately for you, Ben, your favourite player, Jerome Luai, dislocated his shoulder, not scoring a try. Nasty tackle, by the way. Bryce Cartwright landed on his arm and twisted him round. He will be back at some point during the finals, they reckon. Do you think that is the end of the Panthers?
Huge, isn't it?
It is. I would love it to be the end of the Panthers.
Do you think that is why is that what you said before? Why you want the Warriors to play the Panthers in the finals?
Well,
in the first round?
He's one of a few guys that they're missing, including Isaac Tungle as well, although Tyrone Peachey has been a beast filling in.
Yeah,
for
you
him.
wouldn't say that they were a one-player side. In fact, they're very much not.
No,
they've got his half partner is quite good too.
Yes, and every time they bring someone in to replace someone, they're a gun. Like it's pretty amazing what they're doing there at Penrith. However, I'd rather face them now than at full strength later on, you know what I mean? But Jerome Luai, their record without him is terrible. Their record with him is really, really good. Obviously, I'd like to say that that's them done, but I don't think so.
Yeah, I tend to agree.
They'll plug in someone who'll be extremely talented, and then they'll go through and probably win the whole thing. Don't want to be the guy, but he is going to be back at some stage during the finals, which sucks for us.
Do you know what's dangerous for me about the entire competition is no one is picking the Storm.
Yeah. Pappy's back as well.
Pappy's back. That was huge.
It was huge.
That was I put in our group chat. I said that was the first time there's ever been a moment of real heart for the Melbourne Storm.
Yeah, that's correct. I mean, they were playing the Titans too. Gave them an ass whooping. Do you think that's the kind of injection? Because the Storm have had a kind of okay season. Then you look at the table and you're like, oh, wait, no, they're fourth.
Yeah, they're fourth.
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah, and they've genuinely dropped games and they've genuinely looked average at times.
That's right.
And I just think no one's talking about them, and that's when they're the most dangerous.
That's right. So, and that, like, literally that first grand final where Penrith came up against the Melbourne Storm, and everyone was all over Penrith, and no, the Melbourne Storm just beat them because the other Storm and they know how to do it.
Yeah, I think they're a team that if they click, they are. I mean, you could say that about anyone, I suppose.
But especially the Melbourne Storm, they have a high chance of clicking as well.
Although, the Raiders kind of clicked against the Broncos and still lost.
Yes, that was them clicking.
That was them clicking.
They were very clicky that game, although I think they clicked for about 65 mins, and then they unclicked, and Reece Walsh came on.
Can't do that in September, mate.
Nah, dead right. Next thing I want to touch on is the Knights, right? The Knights have been shit hot. They absolutely pants the Sharks 32 points to 6. I'm putting a line through the Sharks. In fact, I put a line through them ages ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they suck. Well, they don't suck. They're good. But
you get way too much pleasure out of Ronaldo Mulitalo sucking. Why is that?
No, I love Mulitalo. Manaya hates... Someone here hates him. I can't remember who, but
is it Manaya?
Or it might be Dai, actually, as well.
Right. I got a photo with him outside the Pullman Hotel, so we're pretty close.
Damn. Yep. Outside the Pullman Hotel.
Yeah. The whole Sharks were staying there when I was staying there a couple of weeks ago.
How good.
Toby Rudolph just got off on our floor with just a towel on.
You got off with Toby Rudolph.
Yep. No, you've heard that correctly.
All I heard was bumping uglies through the glory hole with you. That's still in my mind. The Sharks are 6th, and they just suck at defending. Nico's gone. Braden Trindle's a good player, and Connor Tracy's doing a great job filling at fullback. But they just suck. Like the Knights absolutely caned them.
Was Nico gone for the whole season?
Can't remember.
Nico is his name.
Oh yeah, by the way, it's Nicholas Hines. By the way. Nico Hines are confident it'll just be one game absence, so he'll probably be back next week. Okay. But yeah, I just think their defence is woeful, and they're just missing something, missing heart. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I see that. What about what's your thoughts on the Roosters? Little rally at the end of the season here.
What are they? 10th. They are 10th, and next week they are playing.
I think they're a chance, aren't they?
They're playing the Rabbitohs. Wow, that's actually quite a good game because it's two teams who really need to sort their stuff. The Rabbitohs are currently 8th and could drop out. So
is it one or the other?
It's 8. I don't know. I don't know.
I can't work that out.
8 or 10. But they're both on. The Roosters are on.
Adam Pomana's put his.
The Roosters are on 30 points,
on.
as are the Rabbitohs.
I got a question. Did you guys see that game or any parts of that game?
No, I didn't watch it.
Because Jared Warrior-Hargraves is a massive piece of shit. Did you see the hit that he put on the 5'8"? And then he started going face to face with the dude and giving him a little headbutt and then complained why he got sin binned. He got sin binned while they were up by like 20 points with, I think it was less than 10, just over 10 minutes to go, and he still wanted to have a fight. I reckon stuff like that could cost them pretty late in the final piece here, eh?
Yeah, I like that they have someone in the enforcer role.
Who, Victor Radley?
Well, and then there's him as well. But no, I find the Roosters one of the grubbier teams.
Well, they're tied with the Rabbitohs, so it genuinely is one or the other. They could make the 8s.
Oh, right. That's what I was asking.
So it's a lovely it's a lovely chance for them to maybe have a late run at things, and I'd love it for Tedesco's sake. But I don't count on them making much noise in the postseason. The Knights, though, who were the ones that caned the Sharks, Kalen Ponga, right? So the Knights have lost Jackson Hastings, which is a massive loss. He sort of guides the team around the park while Kalen does amazing things. The bloke who's coming to replace him, can't remember his name. Milne. He's a great player. He's filling in nicely. However, the first 4 tries for Newcastle, right? First one, Ponga scored it. Second one, Ponga had a huge 70-metre run. They then scored. Third one, Ponga had the hockey assist. He ran deep into the line, passed it, and then another pass, and they scored. Fourth one, Ponga had the try assist, a skip pass out to, I think, Best, who dived over. And then while doing that try assist, he got absolutely flattened and damaged his AC and could be out for a number of weeks. The fact that he literally was involved with all 4 tries leading up to it means they are screwed without him, I think. They cannot do anything without him. They were terrible without him during the season.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right.
And they've built around him.
And so they're on a similar streak to the Warriors, aren't they?
Oh, yeah, they're red hot, man. They've been going great guns. And they're safely 5th. So they're going to be in the postseason. I just... far out. Kalen Ponga is just 90% of that team, if you know what I mean.
5th?
I know. Surprising, right?
That's the highest the Knights would have been since they won it in 99.
Yeah,
whenever that was.
Shout out to the Knights fans, man. Like, you guys have had a pretty rough go of it, and it's good to see them going well. I hope Kalen's injury isn't as bad as first thought, and that he can make some noise in the postseason as well. That does it for the Mad Monday podcast today. Make sure you do join us for the Supercoach special, which will be coming out, I believe, on Wednesday. And, of course, we'll be commentating the game 5 o'clock Saturday. The Warriors taking on the Dolphins. Myself and Di Henwood. Sky Sport, probably Channel 9, but keep an eye on the old ACC's Instagrams. Flick around.
The Warriors are out on their feet.
Oh,
Shut up, Chris.
Ben.
Shut up, Chris.
Don't say that.
And Australia without...